Once upon a time, I was in the tropical lands of Florida, auditioning for my dream job. Didn't go quite as expected. And no, it's not because a Florida man tried to rob a store with a stapler.
Don't know why you say goodbye, I say shalom.
It was a beautiful day. I had just finished a 16-hour drive, and I was so ready for my audition to become an underwater mermaid performer at Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter. Try saying that 5 times fast. Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter, Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter, Mermaid... Can't do. Hello everybody, I'm Mermaid Liv, your friendly neighborhood mer person, and in this video I will share my experience auditioning for Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter. Such a mouthful. Be sure to watch on for my interview with some of the other merfolks who auditioned, including one mermaid who actually got the job. She's going to tell us all about that. If you don't know who Eric Ducharme is, he is the founder of the mermaid tail company Mertailor, one of my favorites. Not that I have any of their tails, but, you know, one day. He's also a professional merman who designs and makes silicone and fabric tails. And he opened the Mermaid Aquarium Encounter in December of 2021, and he was in need of some mermaids. I had dreamed of swimming in a mermaid tank ever since I became a mermaid, which was in around 2014. This was my chance, the opportunity I'd been waiting for. I knew what I had to do. I didn't know what would happen when I filled out that application, but I was so surprised when they actually emailed me saying I was invited for an audition. It felt unreal. I had recently started doing van life, and I had just gotten back from a trip to the beach, and I was ready for some more traveling. So I decided to drive by myself in a camper van that sometimes stalled out to audition for the mermaid position in Lecanto, Florida, and it was the adventure of a lifetime. Hello everybody, Van Life Mermaid here, and I'm on my next adventure, and this is a big one. I am driving by myself all the way to Florida. Guess why? Because I have an audition for the Mertailor Mermaid Aquarium Encounter. Dreams are happening. Even if I don't get the job, I'm just excited to be doing this, and I'm gonna get to swim in a tank for the first time. Day 2. I am here at Ocean City, Maryland. I found a nice little beach. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do today. I mean, I know what I have to do today. I have to drive for at least 3 hours. I would like to stop at a Starbucks and get some coffee and use their internet. But till then, right now, I'm just trying to get myself started, and I'm just not really feeling anything. I'm like, so much driving. So, and life is a little bit rough.
Welcome to Georgia.
Hello fishies! Tomorrow I will be arriving at my destination, and then I will have my mermaid audition, and I am super pumped about that, a little nervous.
Into the barrier, that's towards road, okay? Remember road, other side. Let's see your front lead.
The day of my audition, I woke up a little bit later than I wanted to, which made me a little bit stressed. I was feeling a lot of things. I was so excited. I felt euphoric, but at the same time I was so nervous because this was huge and, you know, I didn't want to mess up. So I felt like I was running late, but I ended up getting there with 10 minutes to spare. Or so I thought. When I got in, there were tons of people with cameras and clipboards, and Eric Ducharme was in the seating area of his aquarium stage for the mermaid shows, and he had a microphone. He was giving orders to some mermaids that were doing their auditions. There was a lot of people. I didn't really know who I was supposed to report to. Some lady started talking to me, and I said that I was there for the audition, and she said that I was an hour late. I was almost beside myself, but then she told me that I would still be able to audition. Thank Poseidon. I also had to sign some forms because apparently there was a mermaid documentary film crew there recording everything. It was like I was in a reality TV show. It was epic. Anyway, they saw this as an opportunity to add a little bit of extra drama into the documentary, like, oh no, this mermaid's late, so they're gonna miss out on their dreams. And then the moment of redemption when they had me march up to Eric and introduce myself, and it was like, yay, everything's okay, they can still audition, their dreams are not crushed. You know, I don't know. It felt very dramatic. It was fun. Some people brought me to the back and gave me a little rundown of what I was going to be doing, because I had missed the orientation, which wasn't really a big deal, but it would have been nice to have not missed it, of course. I also found out that this was only the first round of auditions, which was very disheartening because that meant that I would have to go home and then potentially come all the way back, which was a real pain. And I also thought, like, this is it, this is my chance. Like, I didn't realize there was going to be more to it. So here's some of what we did for the audition. We had to tread the water for 5 minutes with our legs together, with our toes nice and pointed. And I'm not gonna lie, that was a little bit boring.
This is boring.
We also had to hold our breath for as long as we could, and I was told by a certain crew member that I did a very good job. Not to toot my own horn, but we also had to do a series of backflips with different leg variations and different underwater ballet moves. And at the end, we also had to demonstrate diving down, and then we also demonstrated waving and smiling underwater like a professional mermaid does. When I had to get in the tank, I was so nervous. Oh, my bathing suit came loose like right before I got into the water, and I was like, oh god, and one of the crew members was like, I got you, and she fixed it, thank goodness. Would have been awkward if I was trying to do my audition and my bathing suit top was going all loose. Crisis averted. And Eric Ducharme was on the other side of the tank. We couldn't actually see anything from inside the tank, and he had a microphone. He was giving us instructions, but it was a little hard for me to hear and focus on what he was saying because of not being able to see him. The sound was, there was like a sound barrier, so it was a little bit muffled. That was a little scary. Also, some of the things that they had me do I had never done before, and I hate performing things without being able to practice first. I thought I did a good job on all the moves. It felt like I did a really good job, but unfortunately I did not get the job.
Aww.
On the other hand, I had a great experience and I got to meet some super cool mers. And today some of those cool mers are joining me for a reunion to relive our experiences. They're going to tell you what it was like auditioning for them. Watch till the end to hear from a mermaid who actually got the job, and will be sharing what it was like going to the second round of auditions and what it's like working there.
Hello, I am Shay Monique, or Mermaid Shay Monique. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Mermaid Shay Monique. I am the founder of the Society of Fat Mermaids, and I'm super excited. In February, I'm going to be teaching mermaiding at a yoga retreat in Mexico. So I'd love for some fishes to come join me, and fins crossed, I should have an epic mermaiding adventure.
Hell yeah.
To the Red Sea that I'll have a lot more to tell you about towards the hopefully within the next month. So please follow me to hear more about that. I'm the founder of the Society of Fat Mermaids, and Society of Fat Mermaids will be at Mermagicon, where I'll be headlining this year. And you can find Society of Fat Mermaids, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Society of Fat Mermaids.
Hello, my name is Riza. I go by Mer Azir on Instagram. There's my name spelled backwards. The originality. I don't do a whole lot of performance yet. I'd like to. Great Falls is hiring, but that's 2 hours away from where I live. Not ideal. But mostly what I do is post videos from scuba diving that I've done, of all the fish and the sea life that I've seen. And I make fun little facts about the fish that I see, kind of as conservation and awareness engagement.
Do you have a fun fact that you have memorized that you can share?
Filefish are called filefish because they're really flat.
Like a nail file.
Yeah, and they've got rough skin.
Oh.
And trunkfish their skin, they secrete a venom off of their skin. Oh. So don't eat trunkfish.
Alright, thank you. And
I'm Annie, or Mermaid Annie, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Mermaid and Poet, one word. I don't have anything big to plug right now. I'm currently working as a mermaid performer at the Mermaid Aquarium Encounter, so I'll probably plug them, if anything. You can find them at Mermaid Aquarium Encounter on Instagram and Facebook. I've been performing in daily shows now for about, I'd say, 3 months now. So
that must be really fun. We're gonna talk about that more
cool.
later in the video. So next, I want to ask a question. What was your overall experience as auditioning for the first round of auditioning for the Mertailor Mermaid Aquarium Encounter?
I remember just feeling really nervous and then suddenly almost overwhelmed with how cool everything was and just kind of awestruck at the fact that, I mean, we got to swim in a fish tank. What mermaid performer doesn't even get to dream of just even getting to do that once? And then I was also awestruck by the group of people that I met. I remember we all gathered in the theater, and it was Mermaid Achilles reached out and started talking to me and immediately made me feel comfortable. And then the next thing, I think another group was talking, and I did not have a pod for a very long time, so it was very almost overwhelming, but it was so amazing to be around so many amazing mermaid performers and just mermaids.
Yeah, it was really nice coming together and getting to meet all you guys, other mermaids. I felt like I had met my people, or my mer people, you know, because no one else, like, there's not a lot of people like me. I always feel a little weird, but when I'm with mermaids, it's like, we're all weird in the most wonderful way.
I was super nervous until I got in the water. I don't know what it is about water. It's just like you get in there and it's just everything goes quiet.
Yeah, it just feels
nice.
like home.
I got a lot of salt up my nose though.
No.
About that. Definitely went in not knowing what to expect, and I definitely realized that I have a lot to work on if I want to go into performance, because it can be hard to kind of control your face when you're doing all those tricks underwater and to like make yourself look graceful when you don't always know exactly where your limbs are going.
I know, and it was hard because a lot of the things they had us do, like, I had never done a bunch of those like ballet moves before, and I like to practice things before I do it in front of someone. I was like, oh god, I'm gonna mess this up.
I had seen the tricks, like other merfolk doing the tricks like online and on Instagram, but I did not know that put your arms out thing was called a bird arabesque.
Yeah, never heard that before either.
The ballet was definitely terrifying. I don't think any of us really had come in prepared to be doing ballet performance.
Yeah, I thought I was going to swim as a mermaid.
Yeah. Well, and they were like talking about like, you know, you don't get any weights, you don't get any of the like the air tubes, like, oh, I'm gonna float. I'm not gonna like, this is not gonna look nice.
Yeah, I know for me, and it kind of was useful because once I realized that it was like no tails, no fins, no weights, I was like, oh, and it's saltwater, so you're like more buoyant, and it's funny because I'm wearing like my big, beautiful, and buoyant shirt. But
do you sell those?
I do at Society of Fat Mermaids.
Oh, check it out, everyone.
But it was like, I'm glad I knew that, like, I don't know, I think he told us that like maybe a week before, and I was like, okay, like at this point I'm just here for the experience because I'm gonna tank this thing. Like I'm floaty,
No
like
pun
it
intended.
is, yeah, pun fully intended, man.
Yes.
Like,
You had it.
like it's like I'm floaty. I am not like a swimmer with my legs. Like I am graceful with my tail, but when I shed it, I feel like I look like a mermaid who's like lost her tail and I'm just like flailing in the water. So
The aerial walk
whatever.
with like wobbly legs.
I'm just here for the experience. But the experience itself was like epic, like absolutely epic. Like meeting all of you, it felt like it was the first day of school or like camp or like college. Like it's like weird that like we didn't get to like keep hanging out all the time because it just felt like this was like there was just such this cool energy. Like everybody was so excited and like it was just really, really cool. And for me, the other highlight, you got salt water up your nose. For me, like that first time I like tasted the salt water, it had been so long since I'd been to the beach that like just the like salt water on my lips was like the most amazing like feeling ever. It was like, oh, I'm whole again.
Yeah, it always feels like coming home once you get into the water. Yeah, so the next question I have is, what were you the most nervous about?
What was I the most nervous about? Like definitely I was intimidated by the ballet moves, but I really kind of feel like I'm the type of person, I'm not very coordinated. Like I cannot watch a thing and do a thing. Anytime I've seen dance auditions on TV and they just like show people the thing and then everybody does it, I'm like, how do you do that? Like I need somebody not just to like break it down for me, but I need somebody to like put my arm in the right way and be like, and you pull through this way and then you do this way. And so I was intimidated by it, but I can't even say I was like nervous because it was just like, my body's not going to do that. Like I'm going to try my best, but like, so that was super, super intimidating. Just this like, see this, then do this. That was a lot. And then we had such long holding times since we only went 3 at a time. So it was like you had time to get nervous every time. I'm nervous again. Like, oh.
I found the holding times helpful though, because in those holding times, we were all just together in the back there, just talking. Like anytime I felt nervous, someone would be there to be like, no need to be nervous. We're going to kill this. We're doing this. And it always,
Hyping each other up. It was really nice.
yeah.
Riza, what were you most nervous about?
Honestly, I was just most nervous about getting there.
Oh yeah.
I'm the kind of person that I feel like if I'm like 10 minutes early, I'm late.
Oh my gosh, me too. And I got an hour late. Remember that?
I remember you were coming for like in the last group with us. But yeah, no, just like making sure that I had everything that I needed, that I got there on time. Yeah, honestly, it was just like the traveling part that made me the most nervous, because I traveled halfway across pretty much the whole way across the country.
That was actually my next question. Did you have to travel there?
Yeah. The traveling was what made me most nervous. Like once we started getting in there, it's like, okay, it seems pretty straightforward besides the random French names for the ballet. But yeah, everything was pretty straightforward, and it was just really cool and settling to meet everybody.
Yeah, it was really fun. What about you, Anne?
I also had a lot of travel nerves. I traveled down from Buffalo for this one, and it's like the moment I landed in Florida, disaster after disaster just kept striking. So the night prior to the audition, my phone stopped working. I couldn't get it to turn on or anything, and I was in a place where I didn't know anybody. I didn't have my own car. Everything I need is in the phone. So I had to use my sister's, and I had to like try to schedule a lift there at like 7 in the morning, I think it was, that we were supposed to be there. It was just absolutely like utter sheer horror that like I came all this way, not even gonna make it. But
did your phone stop working again like as soon as you finished the interview?
It was the weirdest thing. So literally it was like you press the power button and the screen would turn on, but slowly with all these green sparkles and blue sparkles, and then it would stay green and not respond to any tap touching.
Oh.
And then so I plugged it in overnight, and I kept getting the alert that like there's water in the port, you can't charge it. But I charged it overnight, and I woke up the next morning after scheduling a lift through my sister's phone that it was working again. And then it worked up till the end of the audition, where I went straight to a phone store, and the guy working on it opened up my screen and it threw sparks into the air. So yeah, it was kind of a disaster, but the audition was a nice little break of not having to worry about my phone in that moment, and then smelling like fish at a cell phone store.
All right, so the next question was, did you have to travel there, and like how long was your traveling?
So I came from Buffalo, New York, and it was funny because originally I saw the posting for the audition back when they were like, oh, I think we'll do it sometime in April, in March, and then it actually was April, I think, or May. And me and my friend hadn't seen each other since pre-COVID times, so we were like, let's go down to Florida for a weekend. We'll make a vacation out of it. I'm not gonna get it. It's just gonna be a fun little thing. And then as the date came closer, and after I put in the application, it didn't seem like I had gotten the audition. My friend, the plans kind of fell through. And then 9 days before the audition, I got the email of like Mertailor audition acceptance, and like running through the house like, Mom, I gotta get to Florida.
Did you take a plane?
Mm-hmm.
How long was the plane ride?
2.5 hours. The flight itself was fine, outside of just scrabbling to find a seat on shorter notice than what was planned for. And it definitely wasn't a cheap ride, but I got here and I'm glad for it.
Yeah, flights are pricey. Which sucks because I want to travel the world and go to the beach in like Hawaii and stuff. Don't we all? So Rita, you said you came from the mountain region?
Yeah, from good old Montana. It's frozen solid over here right now.
Oh no! We don't have like any snow here.
First of all, like I wasn't even sure I was going to get the audition because I had to turn in an extra doctor's note because I've got really crappy joints, and they wanted a doctor's note of like, can you reliably lift 25 pounds in and out of the water? So I didn't think I would get it just by nature of that. And then I did. So I was also scrambling to find a flight. I got the flight the night before, and my plane landed at midnight.
Before the audition?
Yeah,
oh
and I was at the hotel, and I slept for about 4 hours, and then I drove another 2 hours to the audition, and then I immediately turned around and took a flight back.
Wow, it's a busy trip.
Because I still had to go to work and go to class after that audition was over.
Oh wow, that must have been very stressful.
Oh yeah. Like I said, the traveling was the most nerve-wracking part of the trip.
Did anyone else drive there? Or was that just
I
me?
flew down from Yeah, I flew down from the DC area, but I mean, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So like the getting the rental car and then driving like was intense. And I think I don't know what was going on at the airport. I think I flew into Orlando and it was the busiest airport rental car counter I've ever seen. Like I think I waited like at least half an hour, probably longer, just to get my rental car. It was like weird. So what are all these people doing? Why aren't these cars moving? But then yeah, it's like weird, like, oh, I'm here, but now I still have to drive like an hour and a half or whatever it was. Like it was not close. Like it's not near an airport.
So far away.
Yeah.
Next question. So what part were you guys feeling most confident about when you auditioned? Shay?
I was definitely feeling confident about like the float because I'm just really floaty for the water treading or whatever it was. It's like I don't have to do anything to float. So like that I was very confident about, with the flip side knowing that like that was going to make every other part hard for me.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous about floating, but I was a little bit bored just like floating there. I'm like it in my head, you know.
I also felt pretty good about the treading because I've got very pointy feet, and so they look nice when I just have to hold them in point.
Yeah.
And make your hands look pretty and flowy. I can do that. Yeah, the rest of it not so much. I did not feel very graceful. But I just kind of liked hanging out in the water and watching the sharks and the rays go by.
Yeah, it was fun swimming with some fishy friends. And
for me, the one like thing we had to do, which was just touch the bottom and wave and smile. I was like, I can do that. I was so happy to do that. After seeing all the ballet stuff we had to do, I was so relieved to have one move that was just touch the floor and smile.
Yeah,
I was like, I can do that. Smile and wave. Yeah.
I did not do that and was so mortified that I didn't do it. I had the middle spot, and so someone was like, be careful, don't hit the like spiky coral chair. And then somebody was like, and don't use your legs. But I don't even know who said that because I don't actually remember Mertailor saying that. And so I was like trying to like pull down without kicking and like not hit the thing, and like I didn't touch the sand. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's a wrap. Like and it wasn't like
I definitely felt best to the bottom, but it was kind of fun to just like I just kind of sat cross-legged in the water almost and waved as I floated back to the top.
I felt like kind of funny, like when I was down there, I was like just trying to keep myself down kind of thing. I do remember watching I know now a spadefish just swim by, and I just pointed at it like, look, there's a fish, as if they can't see that. But that was probably the fun one for me. I did not get good at coming back up gracefully, like you said, Rita. Like I had to learn, like they would always scream like, put your hand up, there's a bar there.
I also want to know, when did everyone start being a mer person? And
started mermaiding back, I would say, in like 2011-ish. Just an absolute obsession of H2O and water. Prior to that, a love of the water, of swimming. And then I'd be watching the show on my like little iPod mini, and I'd see the YouTube recommendations of other mermaid shows like that people were homemaking, and I saw they had like fabric tails and tails of different kinds, and I was like, you don't need to have like a giant production crew to have a tail. And eventually found Mertailor, and it remained a like recreational hobby and like a peaceful pastime for most of my life. And then just the past year or so, I got PADI certified with mermaiding, and then started to realize that it was becoming a little bit more than it was like 10 years ago, and thought that might be something I want to pursue. So
it's exciting.
I got my first tail in 2020 during the pandemic, and it was Mertailor. I got my scuba diving certification when I was 12 because as soon as I was age eligible, I was begging my dad, please let me get scuba certified. So I've been diving for half my life, and I'm the little weirdo in the water. I'll do the dolphin kick instead of the paddle kick like all the other divers. But if you ask my mom, it's been my entire life. She could not get me out of the pool. We would go 3 times a week, and I would refuse to go. And I religiously watched The Little Mermaid almost every single day after school for years until the tape ran out. I literally tape. I watched it so much. Yeah, it's kind of been a lifelong thing.
Sure.
Similarly, you could say my whole life, I have no recollection of not being able to swim. The beach has always been my happy place. I mean, and even when I can't swim, like I used to take day-long baths, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but I mean it. Like,
do it today, and I'll take a day-long bath today.
Right. I started mermaiding in 2018.
I guess I should share my mermaid story. I've always been obsessed with mermaids, and I've always played mermaid in the pool. I'm sure we all did. But then I found out that mermaiding was a thing in like 2014, and I started making mermaid tails. And I became like a professional mermaid around 2020, and the rest is history. Now I'm a mermaid content creator. I do YouTube videos and Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and I'm just having fun trying to work on my dream of, you know, monetizing all my online mermaid stuff. And also one day I definitely want to work as a like professional mermaid in a tank, because I like, more than like entertaining kids at parties and stuff, I like demonstrating like swimming gracefully underwater and stuff. Like that's my favorite thing, which is the perfect segue to, and if you could tell us a little bit about what the audition was like, the second audition, and then tell us how it is working there.
Yeah, I left the audition like most of us did. Pretty sure I did not get it. And 2 days later, I was still in Florida. My flight left in about like less than 12 hours from there. I was sitting, staring where we stayed. There was no Wi-Fi because, again, disaster after another. And so I would go out to like a little bit between this space of the hotel and the restaurant next door, which was kind enough to gift us their Wi-Fi password. So. And I was just kind of texting my friends. It was around evening, and I'm very much an extrovert. I always call my friends instead of texting them. So I'm texting who's available for a call, and then my phone starts ringing, and I look down and it says Eric Ducharme in like all caps. I literally answered like, hello, like shaking phone, everything. And I'm in public. There are a bunch of people around me. We're near a marina, you know, and everyone's like, what's happening there? He told me they really liked what they saw with me, and they really wanted me to come back and do another audition, this time with the air hose, because that's kind of a make it or break it moment of apparently some people, when they take on the air hose, they just can't physically do it. It's really hard. It's like, I know Riza can attest to this, the scuba dive training where they make you take off your mask and still breathe. Something in your brain is like, my nose is uncovered, I can't do it. But so I was leaving in 12 hours, unfortunately, so we didn't have time. So we planned for a week's time away, went back to Buffalo only to immediately get another flight back down to Florida again. Same thing with less disasters, had a new $800 phone that didn't spark at anybody. The second audition was 2 days of being in the tank for in total about 2 hours. It was like 30-minute sessions throughout the aquarium day. And I was trained by Tara and Marissa, who Marissa's our lead mermaid there, and Tara's our kind of backup. We call her the mermaid mom. And I remember sitting up at the dock to get in, and they grabbed an air hose and they were showing me how you turn it on and off. And I went in with a mask first and went down there and kind of held onto the bar just to hold myself down, and was like, oh, this isn't too bad. I think I could do this. Stayed down for 30 minutes with thankfully not a lot of panic. Second time I went down, I came up crying 2 minutes later because I found it almost physically impossible to think through the panic that your brain is having you when you take a weird inhale on the air hose, and then everything starts shaking and you're scared because you're underwater with no way to just kind of but
it always looked like it was so easy. I never thought it would be that difficult.
I also was really surprised, and I came out like in tears. I was like, wow, maybe I can't do this. But then after getting back in again, it got a little easier. It went from like 2 minutes to 8 minutes without surfacing, then 15 minutes without surfacing, and then slowly you just got more and more accustomed to it by the end of the second day.
Scary.
It is a little, but by the end of the second day, I was able to keep myself down and stay down. And so I talked with the Mertailor Eric for a little bit before leaving that night, and he said I'd hear from him in like a week and a half or so. He just wanted to talk with his team and see if I was a good fit within their workplace, basically. And then I went back to Buffalo and spent about 2 weeks just kind of biting my nails and losing my mind and taking full long bath days, trying to just like not think about it. And then he called me, and it was raining, and I screamed when he told me that I had gotten the job. Jumping over the pain of moving and everything, I moved down in July and started working there in the last week of July, and I've been there ever since. Training took about 2.5 months, and it was very hard to actually have someone take your hand and throw it into position for the arabesque and for the front birds. Started performing in September, and I've been performing since, and still learning a lot every day. But
It's really awesome. How was the transition moving?
horrible.
Oh.
I think the phone sparking was just kind of Florida's way of saying, we don't want you down here. The state I found very, very hard to be down here, but it really is worth it when you're down there and you get to put your hand up on the glass and you find a little child's hand has also put their hand up on the glass, or you see someone's face just light up or their whole body movement gets too excited, even through the blurry black wall where it's like that might not even be a person.
I was just going to ask, can you actually see anyone?
Everyone's different down there. Wall is acrylic and it's a good like 3 inches thick. And then when the lights are off over there, but lights are on over here, it just kind of looks like a black sheen. But I pick up movement, color, and light best. So if we say like flash photography is allowed, because then we know there's a camera there because we see the light. But if there's like a bright colored shirt, like I could see Shay better than I could see Riza if they were facing the tank if I was in there, just because she's got a lighter color. And then if a kid goes like running by the tank really fast, I can kind of pick up the movement. I probably won't know it's a kid, but.
How long do you have to stay underwater before coming up?
Our shows are average around 15 minutes or so. I've had training sessions where I was under for an hour and a half.
That sounds a little difficult.
The more you do it, the easier it gets, and you don't even tend to realize time is passing after a while.
Anything else anyone wants to know about what it's like for Anne working at Mertailor's Mermaid Aquarium Encounter?
I mean, I'm curious, like part of me is like, how did you pick up your life that fast and like move to Florida? But like, I feel like that's a whole video or like series in itself. So for
I'm not throwing myself at the feet of renters and landlords.
Yeah. I was going to say, is that a job where you can like support yourself fully, or is there like another job you had to pick up?
Since it's full time, found that as long as I'm very smart with my money, which is always a hard thing to do, but I'm smart with my money and working just steadily, consistently, and knowing that like if there's going to be a day off, that's like this weekend I have a 3-day weekend instead of my regular 2 days off, just because of some maintenance that we're doing at the aquarium. That I know that I need to spend less there, kind of thing. But that's just kind of coming with time, and also knowing that I have a good backup support system, and like my family, my friends, like I have a place to go if I couldn't afford staying down here, you know.
That's good. I'm really excited that you guys could join me. You're all amazing people, and it was great chatting with you and reliving that fun experience. So go ahead and follow all those people on Instagram and whatever social media you use. They're super cool. People with good causes. What do you have to lose? Well, that was fun. It was really nice getting to see everyone again. We had a really good time meeting each other at the audition, and it was really nice catching up with them and hearing a little bit more about their experiences. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it neat to get a little bit of insights on what it's like being a professional mermaid at the Mertailor Mermaid Aquarium Encounter. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notified when I post more mermaid content. Bye everyone, see you in my next one.